Hey, Sam Sellers with Home Care Mentors. I'm coming to you with a unique proposition today. It's something that after over a decade of owning my own home care agency and prior to that working with AARP on issues relative to home and community-based services, I've never seen. Let me explain. A few years ago, several years ago, I wrote a book, Finding Freedom at Home, The Ultimate Guide to Home Care. Initially, I'd intended it to be a resource guide to be used by the families members who call my home care agency, but were only researching care or housing options for a loved one. I felt like it would be a way to answer all of the questions they had, while at the same time serving as a reminder that my home care agency could serve their needs if that was the solution they felt was most appropriate for their loved one. Well, people loved the book. I was immediately asked to appear on radio interviews. I was asked to speak to a number of large organizations about, you guessed it, how to select the best home care option for a loved one. Little over 140 page and written for a niche audience, Finding Freedom at Home would never be the kind of book you'd see on the New York Times bestseller list. But it was and continues to be very effective. Quick story. I met in the home of a lady several years ago to do an in-home consultation. She had called our office and my staff told me she was meeting with every agency she could find because she wanted to get the best home care possible for her husband. So, arriving at her home, I could tell she was telling the truth because I saw a stack of folders and other literature from several competing home care agencies. I thought our meeting went well because I followed the client intake done right strategy, after all. But I also knew that I was probably about to be lost in the stack of the other agencies. She had mentioned her daughters having very different opinions about care for their father, and that her son was in complete denial over the situation. So I opened the book to the chapter on family dynamics, and she told me this chapter described each of her adult children to the T, and that she wished she had had this book months ago when they first started talking about care for her husband. And that's when it happened. She closed the book, saw my name on the cover, and said what I'll never forget. She said, "You wrote the book on home care. My decision's made. I want your agency caring for my husband." Right about the same time, I went by a local hospital to introduce myself to a new case manager. I had done this many times and had my routine down. I wanted to just take a couple minutes of her time, welcoming her to the hospital, introducing myself and my agency, and leaving her some information about my home care agency. Included in that was my book. So when I went to hand it to her, she stopped me and she said that her manager had given her a copy of Finding Freedom at Home when she first started for her to use as a resource with patient families. Now that's all great for me, but what does it have to do with you? Well, I've invited a few select home care agency owners to write an introduction to the book. Here's how it works. First, we need to talk and determine if you're the best fit for your area. Assuming you are, and we want to work together, you send me your introduction that you'd like published in the book, along with a headshot and whatever contact information you'd also like included. I then do the editing and add an additional section at the end of the book that brags on you and your agency as a third-party endorser of your services. We get a proof to you for approval, and then we print your initial run of 100 books. Could be more. Your copies of Finding Freedom at Home would be unique to you and your agency. For example, if you're in Denver and you have your copies, the owner chosen in Tampa would have a completely different copy with their own introduction. So it's unique to your area. Along with your initial supply of 100 books, and again, that could be more, you get a complete strategies packet that gives you the step-by-step procedures to most effectively use your books in your marketing and sales efforts. And if you'd like, I'd even come to your location to spend time with you, sharing firsthand how I use the book and how you will too to gain the greatest advantage possible. While virtually every home care agency's literature is identical in both its language and even in the stock photos chosen, you'll have a powerful positioning tool that will very definitely set you and your agency in a league of its own. Again, this is a unique opportunity and is not available to everyone. Like I say, we start things with you submitting the form below. Then we talk over the phone. We both get more information from each other. Then, assuming we both agree it's the right strategy for both of us, we move forward. I have to tell you that when I made this opportunity available, it became an instant hit. There's some areas already taken, and I won't have competing books in those areas. So if you're interested, shoot me the form and let's schedule a time to talk today.